A few basketball questions. So
Okay.
Coach Miller, I was talking to him last week and I was talking to him about the phrase rebuild. And he said he's been very intentional about not using that phrase and instead using building because he wants to ingrain that you're building, it's not a rebuild. When you hear those terms build versus rebuild, what's the difference to you?
Oh, I think rebuild implies like getting back to something that was before. And I think build implies a little more about the future, a new chapter, turning a page, honoring what was in the past, but knowing you're building on the foundation that was there to something new.
I've been asking everyone the same question, and I'm not going to ask you, but the question I was asking everybody is if you could be commissioner for a day, what would be the first thing you would change? Everyone has consistently said, but yeah. You already knew.
You know what? I'm gonna say I would change. I don't know if Kathy has the power to do this because there's like a board of governors and all that stuff, but I would say I would change it to a soft cap.
Okay.
Because we have a hard cap right now. So I'd change it to a soft cap. So like veteran contracts could count as like a rookie minimum.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a gap right now for our veteran players.
Okay, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. So if you were part of the ownership group for the Sparks, what's one thing that you would change to make life better for the players?
Ooh, if I was part of the ownership group, they're doing a really good job. I would build us like a brand new practice facility. I don't know where, somewhere. Yeah.
Would you build your own arena too?
Oh, that's a good question. Because I know crypto is a little bit different. Yeah, arena would be dope. I mean, sure, I want it all. I'm writing all the checks. I got to check my bank account. But yeah, an arena would be dope too. Our ownership group does a really good job. But I think a practice facility would be cool. Like it's a home base for us.
Yep. I heard you talk earlier a little bit about injuries and how you guys just want to be whole. But let's just talk about when your injury, you were out for almost a month, right, with your foot injury. We know that there's a physical aspect of coming back, but can you talk a little bit about what goes into mentally being okay after an injury like that?
Just a lot goes into it. Trusting yourself, really getting to a place where you can get back on the court and not be afraid to like that you're going to have the same injury. So it's kind of getting over that mental block. It's getting through the injury itself when you're, watching your team struggle without you and knowing the things that you can bring. It's taking care of your nutrition, your sleep, just all of that stuff when you're kind of isolated from the team, which is one of the hardest parts of an injury is like you're still on the team, but you're not in the day to day with players. So really easily you're kind of removed from it. You're going to PT on your own. You just kind of miss out on like the jokes and all the little things. And so that's probably one of the hardest parts is just feeling like you're not really in there with the team.
The W's been really good about challenging social norms, leading the charge in that. I saw a tweet from ENES KANTOR Freedom, is his name now, ENES KANTOR Freedom. Okay. He was really big not too long ago about drawing attention to what is happening to Muslims in China, and he called out LeBron James for not being more vocal on that. And now he's claiming he's been blackballed from the NBA because of those words. Oh. And so he said something that, as you was one of the first people to identify as non-binary in the league, I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on. He said that since he's been blackballed, perhaps he should identify as a woman and dominate in the WNBA. When you hear...
This is a lot. Okay, you're giving me a lot.
Yeah. So when you hear a veteran NBA player whose name is known say something like that...
Who said this?
ENES KANTOR Freedom.
Okay.
That
okay?
It was ENES KANTOR. Okay. Then he changed it to ENES KANTOR Freedom because of his thought process on what's going on with China. So now that he hasn't been able to get a job, so now he's blaming it on his thought process on China.
No, okay, can't get an interview.
He's not come to try out
because we don't have open trials. Yeah,
right. So when you hear him say something like that, what do you think?
I mean, it's ridiculous on one, but I think it plays to like one is that men think they can just step on the court and dominate with us. It's like a very misogynistic thing to think. It's kind of that movie. I mean, I loved the movie when I was younger before I understood Joanna Man, right? I loved it. I watched it. It's like it's toxic now that we know more about gender identity, but it was like funny at the time, but it plays at that whole idea that like if you just put on a costume. Right. I always say, like, who signs up to be a women's athlete? Because, like, we're not treated as well. We don't get paid as much. We deal with misogyny. We're told our sport's not good. So, like, where are all the dudes who are dressing up and putting on these costumes to come play with us to be, like, treated like women athletes? Like, right? Nobody signs up to be trans just for the fun of it because we don't treat trans people very well or non-binary people very well in this country. Like, we're being murdered left and right. There's a young gay man who was murdered for dancing at a gas station. So those things are, like, they're they're very violent. They're very, I would say, unethical to say too, because like they lead to misinformation and they're very dangerous. In the same way people spout racist and misogynistic things, like that's the kind of like homophobic, transphobic stuff that, you know, leads to people being murdered, and it's just there's no place for it.
Mm-hmm. I always hear it that way though. I always hear men say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this and go dominate in a women's sport." I never hear it the other way. Why do you think that is?
Yeah. There's men who compete, or women, people who were assigned female at birth, who are trans dudes who go to play, but we never think that, you know, people assigned female women could like compete with men in the first place. So oftentimes we don't even like kind of give it a second thought. It's always that the threat the opposite way. And it's rooted in misogyny, the idea that women are less than men and they would never be equal. And so it's ridiculous. I hate giving it the time of day, but, you know, unfortunately it is a lot of the, you know, things we have to combat as women, as people who are, you know, gender expansive.
Okay, so now let's get back to some fun questions. Okay, so you and the whole squad go out to a club. All right. So who's the
babysitter the next day?
You do.
Okay, I'm there then.
You can't have fun if you don't.
Yeah, I'm childcare. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we got that out the way,
Okay.
you got childcare, so you can
Yeah.
turn up, right? So who's gonna be the first one to hit the dance floor?
Today.
For sure.
Today is gonna be me. If I'm out and I'm having babies and I have a nanny the next day, oh, it's gonna be me.
Because see, when you said you were gonna turn up, I thought you'd be the first one to get the shot.
No, I would dance before I drink.
Okay.
I like to dance.
So who's gonna be the first one to get the shot?
Ray.
Hands down.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and who's gonna just sit and watch the person?
NECA.
Dang. NECA.
Yeah, NECA's a vibe, but she's gonna be chilling. Like she's
Yeah.
not gonna be square in the corner, but like she's gonna be like vibing. Yeah, she'll be doing her thing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This was fun. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on all this good stuff. And then, like he was asking you earlier, this is not, you know, you still got some growing to do. If you could look 5 years into the future, where do you want to be?
5 years?
Yes.
Dang.
Ownership, maybe?
I'm 32.
Coaching.
It's 37. Do the math. Yeah.
Carry the one.
Yeah. Has to be every year. I need a year by year.
Okay,
Yeah.
2 years. Can we do 2? Can we shorten it?
I don't know. I think coaching's really fun. I've done some broadcasting for the Pac-12 Network. I loved that, so I would love to broadcast for the W and just be a part of the game. Coaching is a grind. I have a lot of respect for it. When I've had some injuries, I've been a part of coaches' meetings. It's just a lot goes into it, so I'm hesitant to just jump in there. But those are kind of the two things I think about.
You want to practice interviewing? You want to hold the mic and interview?
Oh yeah, I'm good. So the first time I interviewed Tara Vanderveer, it was for Pac-12 Network, and I was the color analyst. So I'm the one who had to get up and like go interview her during halftime, and like asked her the question, and then I never gave her the mic. So I was like, how the players are playing, and then I just like, and then they're in my ear, they're like, move the mic to her mouth, and I was like, oh yeah. And then I got better and better at it, but I had some experience with that, like being the one who has to ask the question and then say, yeah, you know.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Thank you.